Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this online training session. I'm Xiao from Bournemouth University in the United Kingdom. First of all, I would like to say about Bournemouth University. Bournemouth University is located at the south coast of England. It's only 2 hours to travel to London and has very beautiful scenery around Bournemouth town and the surroundings. There is a 12 it's about or surrounded the Bournemouth University, Bournemouth town. At the Bournemouth University, we have 4 faculties. So the first faculty is Media and Communications. There's a National Center for Computer Animation was located at. And apart from NCCA, we also have a department as Communication and Human Resource Laws as well. At the department, at the faculty of the management, we have business-related and financial-related courses. In the faculty of design and technology, we have the computing courses and other psychology courses as well. At the last, not the least, the Faculty of Health and Social Care provide the training and education in the midwife nursing related subject. For the Department of National Center for Computer Animation, I would like to give you some more details about it. This center was founded in 1989 by the government, and the first course, master course, was established at the time, and the first undergraduate course was established in 1991. And we are the pioneer education institute. We are the pioneer institutions in these areas in computer animation, education, and research. As a pioneer education department, we provide undergraduate courses, postgraduate courses, and PhD-related research degrees as well. So the next, I will mainly talk about how to build your portfolios. In terms of portfolio, we consider fine art, sketch, graphic design, and photography as the main materials can be submitted and to be assessed for this process. If we look carefully, so there's other subject in terms of how those should be included as a portfolios. For example, life drawing, painting, architecture, sculpture, digital artwork, illustrations, animations, and 3D computer-generated images, and other multimedia. So I will give more in-depth detail how we look at the portfolios. So first of all, if we look at life drawing, so that is quite core skills as a fine art student. They should master and should have very confident to use their pencils, pens to draw the figures. So life drawing mainly to look at nude characters, the student to practice how to draw the person, the characters proportionally correct. So give more insight about how to distinguish the person, the body, distinguish the body part, and distinguish how the posing has been presented correctly. Because the difference of culture, and also because the capabilities of the sessions, some students might not to have the opportunities to access as human being with clothes, with different dress, as a life during practice. So in this, the practice, the student, submitted some live drawing with the character, the dressed differently, and the student studied to learn how the posing is about, how to correct, the positions, how to describe, the different characteristics of these characters at that time. So that is how the live drawing has been practiced. And also, if you think about the live, characters, apart from human beings, there's any other features like, different animals, different birds, the fishes. So this is other ways to practice, to learn, how the live features, could be practiced, could be studied. So in this slides, I show the student who they studied the live drawing of fish. So this a basket of fish, they lie on, one by one. They will learn how they positioned, how they look like, and what the color is about. So that is variety of the materials could be or features could be studied. Sketch is the most important. Sketch could be just give you some ideas of how it looks like, and some sketch give you the ideas, more details about how those characters been designed, what the environments look like. From here, there's a few examples give you quite detailed about how the character has been designed, how the storyboard or the shot has been described during this the practice. So from here, particularly in this example, there's two characters around, and it seems like how the shot has been linked and to describe the current scenarios in these images. So give the ideas how to process the informations. Another sketch could be the landscape. What is the environment about? How the environment, the architect surround the environment. Is there any other things in this the surroundings? So more the practice about to give very quick the illustrate the information of surroundings. So sketch is it is quite core skills for the art student can practice, can achieve more straightforward communication with others. For other content, it's similar as a sketch. Student could draw the still object, the portrait. So, but mainly through the drawing the still object, the portrait, not only study the shape of the object, the proportions of the object, and also to learn how the shadow could be placed. Is that a consistent shadow or any other information could achieved in this still object, the practice. For the other, the content, because as an animation student, in the future, student will build 3D characters. So how the character being modeled and how the character being placed in the scene, in the animation. Not only to display the portion of the object, but also the movement of the object, to make the clearance about how the deformation of the character should be look like, and to study the anatomy of the human being, the anatomy of any featured animals is also very important. And here computer animations, and also from the practice of the computer animations, the main thing, to drive the human being and character movement is how the skeleton has been aligned with the, deformed feature characters. So to define a correct skeleton is most important to drive the character move correctly and deform correctly. So that is the key skills to make the animation looks convincing. So skeleton of, to drawing skeleton for either human being or other, featured animals is very key. So here is it is a quite good examples, how to draw the skeleton, how to, maybe in the future, how the skeleton can be applied to animation is very important. Other, the portfolios I would very strongly to recommend, that is art journal. So here it's more about how you get your ideas, how you process the idea, how you process the information you gathered from the internet, from the online, from the other, textbooks. So that is the training of your academic thinking, your academic critics, how to criticize what the other person's work, how to criticize and reflective what yours work and produce the final result. So the journal of the art, or the art journal, is most important to any coursework. In terms of academia, in terms of practice. So give you more as academia to look at how and what is your thinking when you approach your project. So here, this is very, the good examples, art journal, the student you want to study, to present artwork of a woman. And what she did is, she studied what's the sculpture in the past ancient years, what's the portrait, the painting has been presented in the past years. Then look at the contemporary art, what's the current people, the artists to illustrate, to draw, to paint, as a women. And in the end, the student drew her conclusion and to present her artwork as how the woman should look like. So next I will talk about painting. So painting is very important, using the brush and using different colors, to represent objects, to represent scenarios. So in this, examples, the student, to draw the different object. From here, what we really want to look at is how the student use, different colors, how to reflect the current conditions, not only to draw the object correctly, but also to blend, to render, different textures, the lighting conditions, how those has been presented. So paintings, in the European, Western countries, the oil painting is very popular. But in other countries, there could be, watercolor, different, the materials to do the painting. So it's not necessarily has to be oil painting. Unless, they could use color, use different, method, brushes, to present those colored, the artworks. We will look at how students, access those information, and we will look at how the students thought in this, particular, the aspect of how to use brushes and colors to present the object. So here there are quite a few, the examples, not only from the object, but also for the different captured humans, flowers and the shrimps, different animals, to draw and to paint. And those other paintings could be included as a landscape, how to represent the colorful, the landscape in the different seasons. So that is, the lots of practice could be involved in, in terms of painting. So nowadays, because of the technologies and more, tablets available, so students have the abilities, to access those, tablets. So digital illustration is very popular, inside these portfolios, and also give the student the freedom, to illustrate, to draw something, more widely. So what means more widely? Student can, based on one scenario, change different colors to achieve different, outlook, to give the different sense of how those objects could be, reflected in the different environment. So here there are quite a few objects, illustrate different information from human character to the animals, and also more detailed illustrations about, at that moment, one of the the young lady has the umbrellas and different the colors put down. So right now, quite a lot of students think photography is quite important. Yes, it is very important, but in certain aspect. For example, if you focus on more digital effect, the subject, because the live shooting or could be the image could be used as the background, so the photography skills is most important. So in here, as the photography practice, some students shooting based on their interest, based on the wonderful scenery they encountered at the time. As we as academic, we look at the photography, we will look at how students composite this the sceneries, how to process, what's the focus, based on the information we gathered. So we will ask some particular information, during the interview process. So this is as the photography, this is not the core. The photography not the core skills for the portfolio, but it is to be considered as a part of the portfolio. In terms of portfolios, there is not always all the school could provide such trainings. So sometimes students need to practice themselves, and some students focus on sculpting. Some students focus on sculpting. They sculpt different the features. They sculpt the character, the human character, sculpt the animals. So this kind of craft technology skills is very important in the future studies. Give the students more skills. One skills can model themselves, and as a reference to build the digitized features. So the sculpt is quite important skills to be considered as portfolios. There are quite a few students, they are able to access 3D production work. They are able to learn themselves in terms of going to further or higher education. So we consider 3D works as a part of portfolios, but not the core portfolios. Because the students, they're supposed to learn more, basic, fundamental fine art works. But in terms of what they have studied, because the coursework they studied, so the 3D works is probably the one work they could produce. So 3D works, is considered to be a part of portfolios. But in terms of 3D work, we didn't expect students could produce wonderful images, any good animations. But we mainly look at how the student process those 3D informations. Some students build the models, some students render the full images based on different technologies, based on different information they gathered, from their coursework, from the online informations. So 3D animation is part of the portfolios, but not necessary to be included as the portfolios. So if a student don't have these capabilities to produce 3D portfolios, that doesn't matter. This is my main message about how to build portfolios, but I will give very focused suggestions, how to choose and how to practice to produce portfolios. So I would suggest traditional artwork is most important to be considered as the portfolios. So that is, focus on 2D, focus on life drawing, focus on sketch. So those, craft, skills. So it's mainly to practice, how to use pen pencil, more fluently, and how to describe sceneries, to describe object more briefly. So that is more important, core skills. For the others, illustrations, so that is more how to use digitized subject equipment to help you to transfer from traditional 2D to current 2D object works, to current 2D works. So that is probably most important skills. At this stage, we didn't expect students could create any narrative artworks, but if student has very strong background in art, we are very happy to look at any narrative artworks produced by the student. So this is the end of my topic, how to build your portfolios. I'm very happy to give you this information to share. So in the end, I would like to make some acknowledgement, about the slide. This slide in some images was captured from online. Some images was captured from the student submissions in the past as a portfolio we assessed. And also, I would like to say, this is a copyright the materials and is for education promotion only. In these sessions, you have some ideas on how to build portfolios. At the moment, I would like to answer some questions if you have any, and I would like to take some questions.
When a student builds the portfolio, I would like to ask whether the university expects any tools to be used in building the portfolio.
The tools, we not necessarily has to be what kind of tools, particular, we are not interested in, how the tools have been used. We mainly to look at how the artwork has been produced.
Okay. Yeah. And when the student has the portfolio as a file, and at the time of application, he has to attach it to the application along with the documents he has, the other documents he has, to upload in the application portal itself, or does the university share any link to upload the portfolio? How does it work?
The portfolios, student could submit as a attached file, either PDF or any files with the images has been produced, digitized. And also student could provide an online link by themselves. So for example, Vimeo channels or YouTube channels or any public channels, so we can access those locations to assess their student work.
And is there a number which the university suggests, like the number of slides a student has to maintain in the portfolio?
It's not necessary. We mainly look at the quality rather than quantity.
Okay.
So the quality is most important. It's most important. We will consider, and because if a student want to show variety of skills, we are very happy student could submit as many as she or he have been practiced.
Okay. Yeah. From the university perspective, if a portfolio comes across along with the application, how does the university looks at it? I mean, to select a student for the portfolio, or even if we speak about the scholarships, if a student are looking for a scholarship in an animation-related portfolio, what does the university looks at? I mean, how does the university wants the portfolio to be exactly?
As I said, the portfolio is not the single formatted. So as I described earlier, all those forms could be considered as portfolio, like life drawing, sketch, digital illustrations, photographies. All those, could be considered inside the portfolios.
Okay.
As an academic, we will look at what student has been produced in terms of the subject he or she apply.
Okay.
portfolio is only one part of the criteria to be assessed, and we're also looking at other education background, what subject is being studied. So the main criteria for us is to assess the student, can the student do any drawing or do any artworks?
Okay.
Does the student has capability to carry on these artworks in terms of the animations? Because the 2D and 2D artwork is the foundation of the 3D.
Okay.
In terms of scholarship, after we, shortlisting this candidate for further interview, then we can look at what the student has been achieved in the past in terms of academic achievement.
Okay.
Then if any student is capable to apply any scholarship, we will recommend the student to apply.
Okay. And I would like to ask about the weightage of a portfolio in the application process. I mean, amongst the other documents the student submits, how much weightage does a portfolio carry?
Portfolio is very important.
Okay.
It's very important. So prior to the further process,
Okay.
so we would say, because we have two subjects for the undergraduate program. One is the BA Computer Animation, Art and Design. So it's 100% it's artwork required.
Okay.
Another course is BA Computer Animation, Technical Art. So that is 50% artwork required.
Okay.
So another 50% is science-related technology, the subject like math, like computing, like physics. So this is how we assess student portfolios.
Okay, the weightage depends upon the course a student picks up.
Yes.
Okay. And should a student has to upload some common work he had done before, like the Photoshop work or the other common work, I mean with the commonly available tools in the portfolio, does that has a weightage?
Not necessary, using the tools, as an advantage to be accepted. Because as I said earlier, we look at the craft skills from student.
Okay.
Based on the capability of equipment or knowledge or workshop the student gained before.
Okay.
So if students don't have any, the laptops or PCs, they probably won't have any chance to practice, in the current software. But student has very good, hand drawing,
Okay.
paintings.
Okay.
So the tools is not important.
Okay. And if you can list out the particulars a student has to have in the portfolio in a number within 5, how can you list it and how will you list it? I mean, firstly, does the 2D artwork comes, and after that what comes? What does the university looks at exactly?
Yeah, as I mentioned earlier, there's a suggestions from me, as an academic in these areas. 2D artwork is most important, to be considered as the portfolios.
Okay, the first one,
Yeah.
first thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like any live drawings, sketch, paintings, that is the most important materials.
The basic artwork.
Yeah, the
Okay.
basic artwork.
And secondly, what comes second?
Second, recently, as I said, the digital illustrations,
Okay.
probably more, and the graphic designs using the technologies, equipment to
Any
produce.
common tools available?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So like using the Photoshop, to produce, digital design work and any other, coursework, other works, the digitized work.
And the other things follows. I mean,
Other things, is so based on, the availability of the knowledge and the skills the student could, gathered. So some school they provide, like sculptings, to learn more, about how to sculpt an object,
okay.
rather than to drawing, to painting. So that is, the skills we're also looking at.
Okay. Thank you, Jennifer.
This morning I'm very happy to share this information with you. And we are very delighted to give this information to you, and very delighted to work with hot courses here in India, to provide this information to you. And we are willing to welcome you to the Bournemouth University, welcome you to National Center for Computer Animation as a faculty for media and communication. Thank you.